It all started when I bought my first ever house. I was in my late 20s, so you can imagine how happy I was. It was a beautiful house in the suburbs. The outside walls were made of exposed brick, something I personally like a lot, and there was plenty of space. 2 bedrooms, both of them with double beds, a modern kitchen, a big living room, 2 bathrooms, a basement, and an attic. My girlfriend at the time was uncertain about whether she would move in with me or not, since she'd have to quit her job. I found this house on Facebook at a surprisingly cheap price, but since it looked good, I didn't think much before sending a message to the realtor. We visited the house a few days later, and I was certain about buying it before even entering. The realtor was nice to me and showed me around, telling me all about the inside of the house. He asked me a few questions, like if I'd live alone, if I had children, if I was new in town. It seemed a little bit too personal, but I thought he was just making conversation. The house was furnished, so I asked if I'd have to pay for all the furniture, but he told me that the previous owners left it behind after a divorce and the laziness to decide who takes what. I hope to achieve this level of richness someday. The basement was kind of small and had a bunch of old things like empty food cans on a metal shelf and boxes filled with school books. The realtor told me about a mouse and spider infestation down here, and how none of the owners ever managed to fix it. I didn't care at all, and doubted I'd even come down here. When we got upstairs, I noticed something. There were cameras around the house. I asked the realtor about it, and he assured me the cameras never worked and were installed by one of the first residents, who had 3 kids. Again, I didn't mind, especially when he pointed to some cut and bare wires hanging from the cameras. I ended up buying it and even received a first house discount, as the realtor called. I was so happy. I quickly brought some of the furniture I had at my parents' house and moved here. My girlfriend ended up joining me after some weeks, and that looked like the perfect house to start a family in. We were loving the experience of living together. She'd make us lunch. I'd make us dinner. We had a good sleep every night. When we lived with our parents, both of us had single beds, which made sleeping together kind of uncomfortable, and made our own rules. Everything was lovely, until our 3rd week living there. My girlfriend woke me up in the middle of the night, saying she heard a noise downstairs. I got up and lit our bedroom light, trying to calm her down. She was positive she heard something that sounded like a knock on a window. Me, as the supportive boyfriend, got downstairs to prove her that there was nothing to worry about. It was a tree branch. I started laughing and even took a video of the sound it made. I showed her that she didn't need to be paranoid, and that I'd always protect her, even from a tree branch. I caressed her head until we both fell asleep. I knew nothing was up, but for some reason, I felt that she kept trying to convince me that it wasn't just a tree branch. After that night, some of my things started to go missing, like a single sock, some ties, my deodorant, and even some of my underwear. I knew she was the one hiding them, so I didn't say anything, because if I looked concerned, she'd win this little game. Another night, my girlfriend woke me up, but this time, she heard footsteps nearby our bedroom, and I told her it was nothing, but she insisted. I, again, got up and opened our bedroom door. Nothing was there, but after I showed her the empty corridor, we both heard footsteps coming from the first floor. She started screaming and crying, and even hid under the bed. I locked our door and quickly got downstairs, turning all the lights on and examining every part of the house. Again, I found nothing. I got upstairs and asked her what was that all about. She ended up confessing that, when she was a child, 3 men broke in her house and kept her whole family hostage while they stole a bunch of things, and even threatened to kill them if they didn't shut up. One of the men held a gun to my girlfriend's head. That's where all the trauma comes from. I held her close and promised that this would never happen to us. The next day, I called a locksmith to install 2 more locks in the front and back door, an alarm system to warn us if anyone came nearby the house, and even put bars in every window to prevent anyone from breaking in. All of this made my girlfriend feel safer, and it showed. I think everything went clean after I installed all of that. Some things kept going missing, but I was probably being inattentive. Since my girlfriend stopped listening to things inside the house at night, she's a lot more happy and hopeful about starting our family in this house. I love her so much. We went to the basement to inspect if there was anything we could turn that room to, because it was actually kind of cozy. We only had to throw some things away, like the food and the boxes. She said I could do some kind of man cave since I love playing video games. but I suggested a playroom to our future kids, and she loved the idea. She kissed me on the lips and told me about how excited she was. On that day, I knew I had to make her my wife as soon as possible. I bought the engagement rings and hid the little box. They came in inside of a teddy bear I bought my girlfriend on a trip to Paris. It had a zipper on its back, so I just hid the little box inside the foam and put it back to its place. I waited a few days to propose because I wanted to make something impressive, like go on a trip with her or take her to the restaurant we met. I think 2 weeks have passed since I bought the rings. Me and my girlfriend were chilling on the couch, almost getting to the finale of Game of Thrones, and I was sleepy as hell. I told her I was almost falling asleep and that she could watch it alone, and she agreed. I made her popcorn before going to bed and kissed her on the lips goodnight. I woke up with a scream downstairs. My girlfriend screamed, followed by loud steps, and finally a door slam. Then silence. I freaked out. I started screaming, calling her. I looked to the living room from the top of the staircase. The popcorn bowl was empty, and there was no sign of her. I called the police immediately, my fingers shaking so much I could barely dial the right number. I sat on the grass in front of my house and waited for them to come. The police came surprisingly quickly. While one of them searched the house, the other asked me about what happened. I had nothing to explain. Someone just kidnapped my girlfriend out of nowhere. That's all I knew. The other officer came near us and told me that there was no sign of a break-in, and asked me if the front door was locked when I came outside to wait for them, to which I said yes. They asked me if she sleepwalked. No. If someone had the keys. No. If someone would have any reason to hurt my girlfriend. No. If someone could be frogging, but that seemed absurd and I would have noticed by now. After all these questions, they said they had no reason to believe she was abducted, and told me that she could have gotten angry about something I did and wanted to take a break, and if she actually didn't come back soon, I should call them again. They just left. That made my blood boil. Anyone with a brain would realize that no one fucking storms out in the middle of the night. I heard a scream. I heard loud footsteps. Someone must have picked the lock, or maybe someone had a copy of the keys. That didn't make any sense. What if someone was actually inside my house? I took the whole day to search for evidence. A single strand of hair. Even, I needed something that could prove I wasn't crazy. I turned every room upside down. Even the fucking bathrooms. No sign of anyone other than me and her. I thought I was going insane, really. I climbed the stairs to the attic. I've never even gone there, so it made my heart pound even faster. It was a dark and claustrophobic room without any windows. I illuminated the room with my cell phone's flashlight, but I couldn't find anything to get concerned with. Just a couple more boxes and furniture covered in plastic. Then something stood out. A beautiful painting of some dude. There were hearts all around his face, like it had been done by a lover. I started to sob so hard I fell on my knees. What if she did left me? What if the policemen were right? I got out of the attic and went to the living room once again. I fell on the couch, defeated. I looked at our photographs hanging on the walls, in photo frames at the side of the TV. I got up to reach the teddy bear from Paris, and hugged it like it was her. My heart immediately froze. I couldn't feel the ring box. I opened the zipper on its back, and noticed the box and the rings were gone. What the fuck? That changed everything. This wasn't just a fucking coincidence. Someone stole the rings, and I'm sure it wasn't her because we talked about it. That gave me the gas to keep searching for her. The last stop was the basement. It got even dustier than the last time I came here. I opened the boxes, tried moving some stuff, and examined the floor with my cell phone's flashlight. I looked at every corner, every single part of the ceiling. And when I pointed the flashlight to the metal shelf, I noticed that some parts of it were completely clean, even though most of it was covered by dust. I tried to keep calm. I needed to find my girlfriend. When I squatted to examine the lowest shelf, I saw it. A door. A little door, around 4 feet, looking like it wasn't intended to be found. There were a lot of things on the shelves. That's why I never saw anything. My heart started racing, and I felt like I was going to faint at any moment. I moved the shelf to the side and got in front of the door. Since I was almost 6'1" FT, I knew I'd have to crawl. I know this sounds insane. I know I should have just gone upstairs and called the police. But I swear my adrenaline was so spiked I couldn't stop. I opened the little door. When I got up from the floor, my jaw dropped. There was a house inside of that little door. It looked exactly like one of those studio apartments. There was a bed, a small kitchen, a TV, a couch, a horizontal freezer, and a separate room that was probably a bathroom. Someone was living inside of my house. All of the walls were filled with pictures of me. All of the walls. Hundreds of pictures. Pictures that I'm asleep, pictures that I'm naked, pictures that I'm just walking, pictures of me smiling, and no pictures of my girlfriend. What the fuck was this? Some kind of sick joke of hers? I actually thought for a second that this was just a prank and that she'd proposed herself with the rings. For a moment, I felt relieved. Then until I looked behind me, I saw a canvas. A canvas with a painting of me almost finished, filled with a bunch of hearts just like the painting I saw in the attic. At that moment, I heard the sound of a toilet being flushed. I ran like crazy towards the little door, not looking back. Someone was coming from that fucking bathroom towards me. I could hear the loud steps just like I heard the night my girlfriend went missing. I crawled and managed to get out of the room. So I kicked the little door and ran to the top of the stairs as quickly as I could. When I looked back, just for a second, I saw his face. He was passing through the little door, looking at me with a giant smile and wide eyes. He was terrifying. I quickly locked the basement door and dialed 911. They came quickly. I didn't hear anything from the basement while I waited, but maybe that's because I was breathing so loud I couldn't even hear my thoughts. The police went to the basement and found him lying on the bed. They took him in handcuffs. He had black, long hair, was completely pale, was really hairy, was around 5 feet 9 inches, and was kind of fat. He had a smile on his face the whole time and kept staring at me, licking his lips. I was disgusted by that fucking creature. I noticed he was wearing one of the engagement rings I bought. He was the one who stole it. They put him inside of the police car. When I looked at him, I saw he was kissing the blurry window, looking back at me. He kissed it with his white tongue. I threw up on the grass, disgusted. I wanted to kill him with my bare hands. One of the officers came and told me if I knew that the dude had access to the cameras. I told him that the realtor told me they never even worked, but the officer said otherwise. The basement TV showed the view of all the cameras inside the house, and that's why this man always knew what we were doing, and when we were asleep. We realized that the realtor could have something to do with all of this, but that required some more investigation. Some more officers came from the basement carrying what looked like a body, wrapped in plastic. I never prayed so hard that this body was anyone else, but not my girlfriend. I started tearing up when I saw it. I asked to see the body. It was her, my lovely girlfriend, completely frozen. Her body was blood stains and wounds. I lied on the grass and cried like someone was stabbing me. I should have listened to her when she said something was off about this house. I should have moved out when I had the chance. My whole world was shattered at that moment. Some time has passed since the incident, and my therapist insisted I should share my story with other people, serving as a way to vent and to warn others. But I want to give this some closure. Turns out this man has done this multiple times. The police found evidence of more than 3 crimes on his part of the basement. He always fell in love with the man and killed the girlfriend/wife. And I sincerely don't know how the police never found him. The killer was presumed dead when he was only 10 years old. Apparently died in a car accident with his parents, since the police report said that his brother was the only survivor. He was living there for more than 30 years, and you know who knew about this? The realtor, his own brother. He was the one attracting victims so that his psycho brother could have some fun. Funny thing is I didn't even mention that my girlfriend would move in. Does that mean he just wanted to kill me? Seduce me? I have no clue and never will. Also, the realtor ran away when his brother got arrested and is still missing to this day. I still blame myself for it. I still wish I'd done it all differently. So, here I am, opening myself to a bunch of strangers online. I only have a few lessons to share with you, and take them seriously. Always suspect good properties at a ridiculously low price. And above all, listen to what your partner has to say, and take them seriously. If I believe what my girlfriend had to say, she could be still here with me. Hey guys, I'm absolutely freaking out right now, and I have no freaking clue what to do. I'm 15, okay, just a normal kid, or at least I was until literally yesterday. Everything has gone completely to shit in the last 24 hours, and I mean everything. Yesterday was just a normal, boring Wednesday. School, homework, The usual Mountain Dew and bad gaming sessions until 2 a.m. But then I woke up this morning to this blaring emergency alert on our TV. It was this grainy broadcast about some disease that's spreading like wildfire. Something about it being super contagious, and the main symptoms being like extreme aggression and paranoia. And the news dude looked like he was fighting to keep it together. My dad, being the conspiracy theorist that he is, scoffed and immediately shut off the TV, saying it was all government propaganda or something. But I had this sinking feeling in my gut like something was seriously wrong. At school, it was like flipping a switch. Almost everyone started acting batshit crazy, like they wouldn't stop staring at me. I'm not exactly the most popular or good-looking kid, so it was super unsettling. Even Joseph, who usually greets me with a solid punch to the arm and some playful insults, just gave me this weird, distant side eye and completely ignored me. It was like he was afraid of me. I accidentally dozed off for like 5 minutes in history class. Mess. Davis's lectures could knock out a horse. And when I woke up, the entire classroom was chaos. Everyone was screaming and pointing at me. Then they started hitting me, like full-on fist flying, everyone attacking me, hitting. Even MS. Davis joined in, swinging her purse like a weapon. I tried to defend myself. I swear I did, but it was like a mob mentality. I remember punching Davis in the face and seeing blood, and then everything went black. I woke up in the school bathroom, lying on the cold tile floor with blood all over my face. I think I had a concussion or something because my head was pounding and everything was blurry. I tried to cry because honestly, I was terrified and overwhelmed, but no tears would come. I went home hoping for some kind of comfort, even though the whole day was a warning sign. Big mistake. I walked through the front door, and my mom was standing in the kitchen with this vacant look in her eyes, clutching a kitchen knife. She told me to stay away from her, her voice all raspy and weird. I just want a hug, you know? A little reassurance after the literal hell I had just been through. But she raised a knife at me. She actually tried to stab me. I managed to dodge the first swipe, but she caught me in the shoulder with the second. I didn't even feel it at first. I was so shocked. But then this wave of intense rage washed over me, like I was watching myself from outside my body. I shoved her away from me with more force than I thought I possessed and ran. Now I'm hiding in this abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. It's all dusty and creepy, but it's the only place I could think of to go. I can hear sirens in the distance, and I saw at least half a dozen cop cars patrolling the main road. The whole town is on lockdown, and everyone is after me. I have a feeling they're all infected. They're acting exactly like the TV said. Aggressive, paranoid, and completely out of their minds. I managed to leech onto the Wi-Fi signal from a nearby store, so I could post this. If anyone who isn't infected is reading this, please, for the love of God, help me. I am so scared and confused. I have a splitting headache, a throbbing shoulder, and this overwhelming feeling of anger bubbling inside me. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want this to stop. Wait. Oh God, no. I just caught my reflection in a broken window. My eyes are completely bloodshot, and there's this grotesque rash spreading across my neck. It's like the veins are bulging and turning black. And I can't remember what happened after I pushed my mom. I can't remember the run here. There's just blank spots. I'm the infected one, aren't I? Everyone was trying to stop me. I am a danger. What have I done? What am I going to do? Oh God, please, someone, anyone, help me before I hurt anyone else. I don't want to be this monster. I really don't. This happened 3 years ago, and I still don't have an explanation for it. I had just moved into a cheap studio apartment in an old building. It wasn't much, but it was mine. The place had character, creaky wooden floors, weird old pipes, and a landlord who was just sketchy enough to make me wonder if I'd made a mistake. The first weird thing happened my first night there. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to a faint scratching sound. It wasn't coming from outside, it was coming from inside my closet wall. I figured it was mice or something and tried to ignore it. But every night, like clockwork, the scratching came back. Always faint, always deliberate. One night, curiosity got the best of me. I knocked on the wall, and something knocked back. I nearly pissed myself, but instead of running, I did the dumbest thing imaginable. I started tapping in patterns, and it copied me. Now I was fully convinced I was dealing with a squatter. I contacted my landlord, who brushed me off, saying, "That unit's been sealed for years. No one's in there." I asked him what he meant, but he just told me to mind my business. So of course I didn't. That weekend, I bought some basic tools and started prying at the wooden panels inside the closet. It took hours, but eventually a section came loose. Behind it, a dark, narrow passageway leading into the apartment next door. Only, there was no apartment next door. According to the building's layout, my unit was supposed to be the last one on this floor. But here was this hidden space that no one acknowledged. I should have left. I should have sealed it back up and forgotten about it. Instead, I crawled through. The space was dusty, cramped, and smelled off like old wood and something rotting. My phone flashlight barely cut through the darkness, but as I moved further in, I started seeing things. A small mattress, rotten food containers, piles of clothes that didn't look that old. Someone had been living here. Then I saw the Polaroids. Scattered on the floor were dozens of them. Pictures of people sleeping. Close-ups of their faces, their hands, their feet sticking out from under blankets. My stomach dropped. The walls of the hidden space were covered in more of them, some so old they were yellowing. And then I saw the newest one. It was me, sleeping in my new apartment. From the night before. I don't remember running back through the tunnel, but I do remember sealing that wall up so fast I split my fingers open. I moved out the next day. Didn't even wait for my lease to end. I still don't know who was in there. The landlord refused to talk about it, and when I checked the building records, there was never supposed to be another unit there. But sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night, feeling like someone's watching me. And I swear, I hear scratching,